everybody. It's 7 years later.
We're back.
And nothing's changed except my waistline.
Well,
really nothing's changed.
Well, a few things, but in any event, we're back again.
Yes. Okay. That's all right.
That's it.
Because now the next thing we have to do is we have to talk about how we're going to get this whole thing started. I'll just put this here. Obviously, I've gotten larger. We have a lot to talk about. We have tons to talk about today. First of all, what has happened to you over the last 7 years?
Boy,
you're going to hear a lot about me, but let's hear about Jeff.
Talk about a lot to talk about. Boy, I guess in many ways business as usual. In many ways not. I mean, the gym. We're still going here with the gym. We've been it'll be now 11 years soon that we've been operational. But some people, if they've been following, they kind of know that stuff. On a personal level, though, the biggest thing is I have a son now. So that's the biggest thing. His name's Calvin, and he is now 6 months and a couple weeks. So that's obviously been pretty huge. But I'm excited about this. I mean, basically what we did the first time reached a lot of people, and it gave me a lot of opportunities to meet some great people in a variety of industries, actually. And there's been universities bought it, and NFL sports teams bought it, and things like that. So it's been awesome, and I'm excited really to. Another way to deliver the message. I mean, the biggest thing I found over time is, the message and these principles, they work. They work universally. Mm-hmm. But we're still fighting upstream against so much misinformation out there. So an opportunity to showcase it yet again, unfolding in a real time, I think is really exciting to me. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I guess I kind of diverted away about what's happened to me, but that's kind of boring. I'd rather talk about what we're going to do now.
Oh, okay. So
they'll pick it up as we go.
Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about why. Let's dive a little bit deeper into why it's really important to do it again and the difference that we're going to be doing.
Yeah.
From your perspective, why you think it's going to be a good idea to do this again, and why it would be interesting, but from the people's perspective, they're going to see a harder journey for me, I think.
Yes. Well, from my perspective, I think one thing that has changed is the growing number of social media and Instagram, and everyone's got a camera. There are so many more experts out there now, and I use the air quote, experts, and everybody can put up a video, everyone can give advice, and we're just flooded in our news feeds with more and more advice on how to get fit and how to get big and how to lose fat, and so much of it is just inaccurate. Uh-huh. And so from my perspective, another opportunity to illustrate again that it wasn't a fluke the first time, that there wasn't any, because I do it with people all the time, but it's not really seen as much, right?
Right.
This is an opportunity to get eyeballs to watch the process happen again. And I think it's super important because you'll hear this repeatedly from me throughout this thing. You can train and exercise a variety of ways and get varying degrees of results. No question about it.
Right.
But how do you get a maximal result? And that's what we're about, a maximal result based on physiology. And once again, we're going to put those principles to work with you in a real life setting that's challenging, that's busy, and we're going to see how the principles work again when they're well executed. And I think what you'll find is, if you have a great plan, you don't even have to be 100% on that plan. But if you're more good than bad for a long period of time, you will progress. And I think that's what we'll see.
Well, we found that out with the cookie experiment. We also found that out with the burrito accident.
Right.
The first one.
Sure.
But it's a lot of that is like turning the switch on in your metabolism.
Correct.
And once that happens, then that food burns a lot quicker.
Exactly. And I think what you'll find, and what I found over time is people are still looking for one magic thing that's going to be kind of pain-free, that's going to get them this magic result. It's not out there. But
it isn't.
But a smart plan done repetitively over a long period of time, and that's the key. And then again, that's what we'll show. And now what's awesome is people will watch it over that correct time period unfold. So that's interesting and exciting to me, but I think it'll help put into perspective for people trying to do it maybe along with you.
Right.
They'll be able to watch how long it really takes to change your metabolism. You know, we never sell and I never sell. It's not a quick fix.
Yeah.
This is a body composition change. This is not weight loss, this is fat loss, and they're not necessarily the same thing.
Yeah. Well, and muscle and building are different.
Well, yeah.
Muscle building and losing fat, you're calling it the pendulum.
Right, and the thing is, we are always after a body composition change. We're not after rapid weight loss. We could do things that would result in rapid weight loss, but that's going to have a long-term negative benefit. What we want to do, like we did before, is really change your metabolism by changing body composition, and that takes time. There's no way to speed that process up. As I always tell my clients or people, that you can't speed the process. You can do a lot of goofy stuff to slow it down,
right,
but you can't really speed it. You just have to execute. You're going to hear that again and again and again. Execute over a long period of time, and that's really where it's at.
Okay, now the thing that's going to be different about this documentary is that, I wear glasses now.
And you know, and I do too.
7 years older.
And I do too, and I did before, but I wore contacts back then. But I've since, so that's different.
Right.
I don't wear contacts anymore. So
yeah.
You want to know what was different? I now wear glasses all the time.
Yeah, and we are in an active gym, so Jeff will probably have to leave every once in a while.
That's, we're doing this real time, and I'm on the clock right now. So.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting, and we'll get back into what's different in my life. But I remember when we were making the online confession that you didn't use steroids, you know, in your competition, and as some guy was saying, see how many times he's blinking?
Yeah.
He's blinking. That means he's lying, and it's like, no, it's because you had something wrong with your contacts or some of your. Yeah, I remember that. It's like, no, his contacts were really dry or burning.
And since you bring that up, another reason why that they know I'm lying is something to do with my wrist. What? Measurements. There's a wrist ratio, and that proves that I am lying or something.
Oh, that's
but anyway, that might be another video.
Yeah.
But I digress.
Yeah, we way digress. What's different with me is that I'm 7 years older, so I'm 51. Yeah, that's hard to swallow. 51 years old. I was 44 when we did this. The first time. Now, during that period of time, a lot of different things have happened to me over my life. Over that period of time, I had a bankruptcy that happened to, almost 20 million people in our country in 2008, 2009, 2010, and so I had to go to work for other people. So when we were doing the documentary the first time, I had the ability to make up my day any way I wanted. I could chop it up the way I wanted. If I got up at 9, it was not a big deal. I mean, everything was within my control. Now nothing is in my control. I'm just like everybody else. Wake up at 8 o'clock in the morning, and not wake up. I wake up at 6. Well, now I wake up at 5 to get to the gym. But my day ends at work at 5 o'clock, and then from that point on, you know, you've got families to raise, you've got houses to clean, you've got chores around, you know, and you can only do that for so long, because at the end of the day, first of all, you're doing a lot of mental work at the job that I'm in. I'm an analyst and a video producer, and you're staring at your computer all day long, and that is a drain on your head, on your mind, and your eyes, and so. When you get home, the first thing you want to do is just like, okay, I just need to rest. Mm-hmm. So you rest, and then it's 6 o'clock, and then I got to have dinner sometime. So you eat dinner, and then you do a few chores, and then it's like 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock, lights out. I mean, I am dead tired, and people who are raising kids that. You know, now I understand why parents say, you're going to bed at 8 o'clock at night. It's because mom and dad are tired. Yeah. You know, they are out of their mind tired. And I think that pressure of having to try to pull it all in to one day is going to be very, very different, because I have a lot of social pressures too, because I'm making new friends in the new city that I'm living in. I've moved 4 times in 7 years, which is ridiculous. and 4 times and 4 jobs. I don't even want to. We'll get into that. That's a different discussion.
Yeah.
But during that period of time, I've gained a lot of weight. You know, and most of the weight that I've gained is fat because I haven't been to the gym. I've been to gyms, but very sporadically.
Yeah.
And so I think that's going to be the biggest challenge for us.
Oh, I think so, and it's a real challenge. But again, I think what will be interesting is we'll see how these simple principles and the short, intense workouts will actually help that. And I've always said too that the workouts are not short and intense to make your life easier. They're short and intense because that's most productive. But it's a benefit because you don't have to try to budget hours to work out. Mm-hmm. You know, you only got to really budget about an hour between weights and cardio, and that's it. Yeah. And I say it, but because I mean some programs or whatever where you would think you have to work out for hours and hours and you don't. So that'll help. But absolutely, it's a challenge for everybody. So we'll just prioritize, and people will be able to watch and find out how maybe see some things that you do that will help them, stay true with it. So it'll be interesting and I think helpful.
Yeah, I mean, because the job that I have, a lot of times, not a fair number of times during the year, we have these training days where for 2 or 3 days we'll go out and we'll train in an off-site location. So now I'm away from a gym.
Yeah.
And you really don't have time because you have to be with your colleagues.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're not with your colleagues, then it's like, oh, Stu's antisocial, he's not part of the group.
Yeah.
And then you go out and you eat, and then it's like, yeah, have a beer. It's like, no, I'm not going to have a beer. And that's okay because my boss doesn't drink, which is fine. But then there's the food aspect, and then there's staying out late aspect, and there's all of these different pressures that are going to change. They're game changing for this kind of a documentary, for sure.
Yep.
So I think that's going to be an interesting.
And interesting and real and something that everyone faces or most people face.
Now, I've had a lot of people ask me, are you going to do a contest? So I'm on the fence. I'm not even on the fence. I'm looking at the fence at this point.
Yeah.
So what do you think?
I don't think that's necessary. I mean, I think that's something that we did the first time. It was kind of cool. It gave us a goal, and it was kind of like to see if we could do it. I mean, you've proven that we can do it. I think the bigger challenge, because most people out there, I mean, or many of them don't have aspirations to compete, but they do have aspirations to look great and feel great. Mm-hmm. And I think if we can show that the motivation is there just to look great and feel great at any age, at any lifestyle, so the competition thing, I mean, for me, I don't think that's something that would have to happen. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's just if some people have a personal goal, they want to step on stage, fine, but I think the majority of people, it's how do I look better? How do I feel better? How do I trim, inches off my waistline? And especially there's a stigma that after a certain age, it's maybe not possible to build muscle and lose fat, or certainly not as easy. And can we be a tool, a guide to show that, yeah, it is. And again, to illustrate these basic principles that I've been working with for now over 20 some years, believe it or not, 20 some years refining these principles and working with people on them. But you will find that they will work again.
Yeah, I'm sure I'm positive they will. So that's why I'm saying for fans, I'm staring at the fence. I'm not saying I won't, but if I say, Jeff, let's just go ahead and do one. I look this good. Let's just do it. Then we'll cross that bridge.
Exactly. But right now it's just getting the ball rolling with the intent of body composition change.
And my goal, I'll just give you what my goal is for body composition change, is that I'm kind of using. I'm going to compete against myself from the first documentary. How far back in time can I put my body?
Right.
Because this is a funny story. Is that I'd say 4 years ago, people would be blown away when I'd tell them what my age was. They're like, "Oh, I thought you look like you're in your 30s," and I'm like, "No, I'm in my mid 40s." So I had this 10-year gauge. Well, now that I'm bigger, that gauge is completely gone. I was on a trip with a couple of colleagues, and they were younger than I was. I was the oldest guy in the room, and I just said, well, I'm older than both of you guys. And they had no idea how old I was, and they just went, yeah, I know. And I'm like, that's the first time that ever happened.
Yeah.
And a friend of mine who I work with, she said that we're at the age now where people choose how old they're going to be.
Interesting.
And that's a very interesting point, because when you're in your 50s, just think back when you were in your 20s. Somebody that's 50 years old, I mean, man, that's one foot in the grave.
Yeah.
You know?
True.
And so for us, here we are. You know, you're not 50.
41,
Yeah.
42 soon.
42. Oh, you're
So-
such a baby.
Well, yeah.
Such a baby. You're
Doesn't
not even
feel
to
like
my
it.
documentary yet.
Yeah.
I meant baby as an age. But the thing is that, you know, we have this body image when we're at this point in our life where I'm a half centurion.
Yeah.
And so do I just settle in and I go, well, yeah, I limp a little because I've got, you know, this crick in my foot, and yeah, that nerve on the bottom of my foot, I'm just gonna have to deal with it. And well, yeah, I enjoy my food.
Yeah.
You know, and they just get bigger and bigger, and then they turn into that guy that looks like your dad.